Welcome to the Course Creators Podcast with course design expert Jenny Rice. Whether you're an experienced creator or just starting out, this podcast helps build courses that resonate, transform, and make an impact. Each episode, we'll explore strategies and tips to help you create engaging, successful courses. Let's dive in.
Hi, this is Jenny Rice from Course Creators Podcast. I'm so excited about our guest today. We've got Maegan Burke, who's a global educator. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. So why don't you start off? Tell me a bit about yourself and your background.
May I ask you before we dive in? I'm a global educator. How would you classify yourself?
I'm a course design expert or a course creator.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, what was your question?
But tell me a bit about yourself and your background.
Wonderful. So I would say above all, I am an educator in literally everything that I do. It is what I'm best at for sure. Out of all the great things, I'm multifaceted, but education is my passion. It's because I am a forever student. And that really began, honestly, since I was a toddler. My mom taught me how to read at 3. Shout out to her. I don't know how she had the patience, but I don't think she had the choice. And so I grew up in a household where learning was the priority. And maybe I fell into education. Maybe it's because I had a little brother that I bossed around. Who knows? Who knows how it started, but it's a path that had, I don't know if it was predestined for me, but again, it shows up in everything that I do. And so it started with when I was 12, I volunteered to teach ESL at the local library. I would walk myself there by once a week, but maybe twice a week actually, to teach toddlers ESL, immigrant children that were new to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where I'm from. They would go to the library and I would help teach them English. And then that led to me working at camps. At 16 or 17, I became board secretary of a youth-run nonprofit, and I started teaching sex ed. I ran a team of 20 high schoolers, and we taught sex ed all throughout Providence. And then in college, it continued. I chose to double major so that I could have more impact in regards to the money I was spending to go to college. And that transitioned into, I went to the first college in the States to require study abroad, Goucher College. And I had to study abroad in France because I studied French and economics, and chose to go back after graduating and teach English in a French high school. So yeah, it just keeps coming. And now I'm a certified yoga teacher, and I basically have created my own career, my own lane as an educator. And what that means is I basically teach what I learned myself. And so, for example, the most recent workshop I had is called May I, and I taught people how to use Claude, an AI chatbot. I taught them how to use Claude to be like their life coach. And it's something that I did for myself last year. It changed my life. It helped me map out an entirely different lane for myself. And yeah, so anything anything I do for myself, I then go and teach my community how to do it for themselves.
That's so great. And I love that your life experiences bring it into who you are and how you support and serve people, because your experiences, your learning, your insights, then you translate them on or transfer them on to other people too, which is what a great life mission you've got,
Blessed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a great time.
Yeah. And it started so young too, where that instinct to teach and share and serve, which is wonderful. What a great story. And you got to travel too. So I'm the same. I did my whole degree overseas actually before anybody else was in Brussels, Belgium.
In Brussels.
Yeah, it was great. So I'm a firm believer in internet. You and I both have a common interest in traveling and experiencing new cultures and what they mean. And I know you live in Colombia now, right? So very exciting.
I live in Medellin.
Yeah, very, very exciting. So good for you. So tell me a bit more about the courses you offer and what transformation you provide.
Wonderfully, that's a great question, because it's a challenging question in a great way for me. As I mentioned, I'm multifaceted. I'm a nerd, and I'm a forever student. And so on one hand, I'm a certified yoga teacher. On the other, I am an impact storyteller and I love data. On the other, I love AI. And so I would say if I had to categorize all of my courses, my workshops, everything into one, it's that they're all to make your life easier, whether that's professionally, personally, introspectively. I do a lot of personal development as well. My most popular course thus far to this day has been a 6-week personal development course called The Selfish Reset. And so, yeah, I would say all of it comes down to making your life easier and making you more confident. Those are
Yeah.
my two themes.
So we're making you more confident, you say?
Hmm.
That's great. And from what you said too, is that you've experienced the same transformation yourself, and now you're showing other people how to do it. So
Exactly.
you've learned it, now share it, and you can do the same, which is really good because then people connect to you, your story, and your background, which is wonderful.
And a
Yeah.
true teacher, you don't know what you know until you can teach it. I believe anyway. I think
Yes.
a good teacher is someone who can actually teach what they know. And maybe you still know that, but I don't think that you're a good teacher if you
Yeah.
can't teach
Well, that and you're
it.
passionate about it too, because you've been through it, you've experienced it, you're close to it. You can say, hey, I get it. I'm there with you, right? I know so many people that have gone through major life transformations, whether through trauma or through something good, and they're like, I'm going to show you how to get through the same thing, you know?
That's
So
me.
yeah, which is amazing. And that you have an impact for people too, right? It's not just about getting course material out there. It's like, I want to help you better your life.
1000%. And I don't think that, that's for everyone, but I know for me, 1000%, like you said, I've been through some things that will go in my memoir one day, my memoir, as I call it. And one of the great ways for me to process it has been to help others who are going through the same thing now or who will go through it. Yeah, and it makes it really rewarding.
Yeah, well, you connect to people too, right? Because you get it. And so it's so much more relatable, which is amazing. So did you face any challenges in creating any of your courses and how did you overcome them?
Ooh, challenges in creating my courses. I would say so for the most part right now, they're all virtual. Again, I am a classroom educator traditionally, and so I do things in person. This summer, I'm hosting a retreat here in Columbia. It's a professional development retreat for women, and so still teaching. It's a relaxation retreat. There's a lot of self care, a lot of personal development as well, and alone time. But there still will be some educational component to it. And so, for the most part, though, my what I do is virtual. And that doesn't pose a challenge to me, aside from the fact that although we're in a digital world, as we talked about before we started, something will go wrong. And luckily, I'm good at dealing with things that go wrong, whether that's what's wrong, right? But let's just say, for
Mhm.
example, someone has to hop off real quick because their child just threw up. They have a toddler and they need to go tend to them, or the house is rambunctious and so someone can't fully pay attention, they can't fully engage, or my Wi-Fi goes out and I need to go work from a cafe, but then now it's loud and then I'm distracted and I'm not able to give my full attention. And so I have some tips and tricks on how to deal with those. A pro tip for anyone listening, if you are a course creator, is if you host on Zoom, for example, I do a lot of workshops, and that is to have changed two settings in the background. One is to make it so that the video is always off and the microphone is always off when someone enters. I don't know why people don't do this. Maybe they don't know that it exists, but turning off the microphone means that if someone comes late or at whatever time, they don't interrupt and you don't hear what's going on in the background. You don't, I've been on webinars with hundreds of people and then one person has their mic off and they can't figure out who it is. You won't have to deal with that. And so all that to say, I have tips for days. But yeah, those are usually mine, the technical things.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny. I just held an event today and I went in there and turned it off because we had 37 people. And so we wanted people to join in with their mic off. So I just set that up today. So thank you for that tip because I used it and it's very helpful. Um,
That's
uh,
wonderful.
yes, because it's true. You don't want somebody coming in later and, they got background or their dog's barking or something like that, right? So
It's
yeah.
distracting, and I'm very strict about creating an environment where people can pay attention.
Yeah. And a safe space and they can,
Hmm.
be attentive and things like that, which is really, really important. And technology is so important. And a lot of people are really not comfortable with technology, but it can be so supportive. But if you're scared about it, you have resistance and then it doesn't work as well for you, right? So
That's so true. Yeah,
yeah,
great point.
yeah, it's overcoming that resistance because I'm not a techie person, but I've become one a bit because it's so important tools that we have in our business to help us, right?
Necessary.
Yeah. And now with AI, even more so, it's like, let's leverage the tools that we've got, right? So
How are you getting on with AI in regards to course creation? Just as a little segue, I'm curious.
I love it. I don't use it for content creation. I use it for um collateral materials like quizzes and summaries. And like the best thing about it, I had to do a course summary for a course. And so I put all the content in there, say, write a course summary description for it. And it was like perfect. right?
That makes me so happy to hear because I don't do newsletters with AI. I don't do blogs, any course content, none of it because I feel that I'm a better teacher than AI and I know my people better than AI. And I use it the same way you do for like supplementary things. But it just makes me so happy to hear that there's someone else that holds that
Yes.
same
Yes.
pride.
Yeah, and what I did was interesting too is I have my own course and I uploaded the course in there. I said write a few posts around my course content. So it was great because it took a good summary of everything, but it was my content. It was my ideas. It wasn't like to create new ideas. So it worked really well too. So um
Wonderful.
yeah, and it's so much fun to keep creating that too, right? So yeah, very cool. Yeah, and AI is a great tool for people that want to know how to do it. And it sounds like you've got really good tech background in order to do that, which is really helpful, right?
Yes, that's another theme for me actually now that you say that is teaching women how to leverage tech in order to make their lives easier. That's huge for me, particularly right now, AI. My most recent workshop was called Style Compass.
Mm,
And it's basically, I taught women how to make their own AI stylist. And again, it's something that I did for myself last summer. And that's actually how I found out that this nail color of mine, if you can see it, it's like a peach.
yeah.
It's wonderful for my complexion. I would have never thought of it. And last summer, I made a palette off of my complexion and undertone using AI,
How
using
cool is
Claude
that?
and ChatGPT. And then they suggested this color last summer and it stuck with me. And then I led the workshop like last week and I got this color and everyone is complimenting me on it. And so again, it's based off of my experiences, but to be able to combine AI and beauty is,
Yeah, that's so cool.
yeah, I'm tingly just thinking about it.
Yeah, me too. I think what a great way to leverage that in order, one, to make you feel better about yourself, but improve your brand too, right? So,
Yes.
oh, very cool. We'll have to get people to sign up for your courses and to learn more.
I'll send you a link for the,
Okay.
especially for the style compass.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. So that was great. Good insight, good reflection, good feedback and everything. So do you have any other tips for course creators as we come to the end of the podcast?
Oh man. Okay. Succinctly, I will do my best with these tips. Aside from the virtual things, excuse me, I truly think that um, there are so many educators out there, and not they may not teach because they do not know their lane or they do not know their style. So with that said, I cannot encourage you enough to remain authentic. I am such a confident teacher because from the jump, well, my parents would argue that I came out the womb like this. But from the beginning, it was my teaching style. And again, my little brother was great practice for this. But when I had little French babies, they didn't call me Miss Burke. I never did that. It was Megan or Miss Megan at the most. Um, and so it's bringing that authenticity with confidence to the classroom. It's imperative because that's how you feel comfortable. It's how you feel confident. And there are different things for different people, right? I'm sure you have your quirks or things that work for you. But I just cannot encourage people enough to figure out how to create their classroom. Again, mine is very much so a safe space. People cry, they interrupt me, we cuss. And it works because I'm proactively vulnerable with my community. And so they can be vulnerable with me. And so I guess with that's my second tip is vulnerability. You cannot create a safe space by not being vulnerable with your students. And they won't feel comfortable asking you a question if you know everything. And so I'm very open about what I do know and what I don't. I ask them questions because I'm there to learn from them. And thirdly, stay a forever student. I think that's why I'm a teacher, is because I'm a forever student. And I think that the best teachers are students first. And if you don't practice that, I'm a firm believer that I think it shows immediately and that
Mhm.
people read that energetically.
Absolutely. Yeah, showing up authentically yourself. First of all, it's more liberating, it's more passionate, you get more reward out of it, but people can sense that, truthfully. They
Even
know
digitally.
yeah, when they're putting on a show versus, hey, this is who I am. I'm showing up being vulnerable myself so I can help you the best I can is absolutely the way to go. And the interesting part, I believe that creates more success in your life and with your courses, your content, your interactions, because that's what people are looking for you know, even with the AI world, they want real people, with it. They want transparent people, genuine people, authentic people that they can connect with.
Especially today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps you stand out as a teacher as well, especially in a should you consider it a competitive market? Yes, they're coming to me to learn tech, But then they come back to me and say, you know what, when I'm around you, I just feel like I can be myself. And so I stand out as a teacher because that's going above and beyond, right? Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah. And you're so colorful and so engaging and so passionate. It shows up in who you are. But I'm a bit the same way where I try to tell my clients, like, I am here for you. So reach out with any questions because I want to serve you. And so I say, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Reach out. I will answer it as soon as I can. So people know they have support because I believe when you're trying to, especially course creation, when you're trying to do it in a vacuum, you spin, you get confused and you churn. Whereas, hey, Jenny, I want to talk to you for 10 minutes about an idea I have. It can help ground people and get them more, get their answers. So I'm totally aligned with what you said.
1000%.
Yeah. Well, I've so loved having you as a guest. It's been so fun hearing about you, sharing with you, talking about, what you stand for and what you offer. It's so exciting.
Thank you so much. These were great, to the point questions. My favorites, direct.
Perfect. Well, Maegan,
thank you so much for your time and for
yeah,
having me.
I've loved having you as a guest on this. It's been so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is Jenny Rice with Course Creators Podcast with my very special guest, Maegan Burke, a global educator extraordinaire.
Thanks for listening to the Course Creators Podcast. For more insights and to connect with a community of creators, join our Course Creator channel on The Great Discovery. We offer both free and premium memberships. Check the link below. Until next time, keep creating, inspiring, and transforming lives.